Hello everybody, I'm Nihat Kasımlı. Today we are going to speak about the multiculturalism and Azerbaijanism. I want to start with you. What is the multiculturalism? The meaning of the multiculturalism is a word that describes a society where many different cultures live together in a peace. In a multicultural society, all cultures must respect each other. In general, multiculturalism occurs when people from many different countries immigrate to a place. However, this society can only survive through tolerance and a war against xenophobia. It's based on intergroup relation understanding of culture, in which cultures are defined as homogeneous and close to the outside. Multiculturalism is both a response to the reality of cultural pluralism in modern democracy and a way to compensate for the exclusion. Most modern democracies are made up of members with diverse cultural perspective, practices, and contributions. Multiculturalism stops the assimilation pressure of dominant culture. Dominant culture. Yes. While maintaining respect for differences and demands the inclusion of the views and contribution of different members of society. Now we can move to the Azerbaijanism, the ideology of Azerbaijanism. Azerbaijanism is an ideology of the Azerbaijan people who have chosen independence of the Azerbaijan and fight for the construction in this country of a civil democratic state founded on the secular principle as its strategic objectives. The basis of his or her ideology is constituted by the idea of equality of the members of the national, ethnic, religious, social rights of all members considering Azerbaijan as their homeland. As a national state ideology, Azerbaijanism is a system of values relying on basis on the constitution of the republic as a legal and democratic state. The ideology of Azerbaijanism formulated at the end of the 19th and the 20th centuries has passed the way of sustainable development, transformation of Azerbaijanism into the ideology of constitution of the Azerbaijanese. The ideological basis of the independent Azerbaijan state is a historical merit of the national leader of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev. Heydar Aliyev, still during the Soviet period when he headed the Republic of Azerbaijan, shift to spread the ideology of Azerbaijanism among all our competitions, so that this idea became a nationwide ideology for the all Azerbaijanis. During this period in Azerbaijan, literature, music, cinema, and the fine arts, and in other spheres, there appeared numerous samples of works propagandizing and eulogizing the spirit of the Azerbaijan people, its history, and national cultural values. At this time, Heydar Aliyev was also considered a necessity to achieve the organization of the Azerbaijanis living outside the republic, the formation of the Azerbaijan diaspora. After their return to the power in the 1990s, he always kept in the center of attention the question of becoming our competitions, living abroad on organized force, strengthening their contacts with the historical motherland as a priority question. As a strong Azerbaijan diaspora is the support of independence Azerbaijan. That's all from my part. Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about the ethnic diversity and languages. In Azerbaijan, there are more than 15 ethnic groups, which account for 8% of the population. The majority of people live in small towns, except for the Talush and Tats. All of Azerbaijan's major ethnic minorities have had their numbers decline over the last decade. But the census revealed a severe drop in the number of Russians and Armenians in the country. As a result of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, the majority of Armenians outside of Nagorno-Karabakh left Azerbaijan, and many Russians also choose to leave for socio-economic reasons. As a result of these events, the Lezgins became Azerbaijan's largest minority. According to the results of the most recent population census, which was held in 2009, Azerbaijan is made up of 91% of the population, followed by Lezgins, Armenians, Russians, and Talush. Azerbaijan features a vast number of smaller ethnic groups, each accounting for less than 1% of the total population, including Avars, Turks, Tatars, Ukrainians, Georgians, Kurds, Jews, Udins, and Tafurs. So let me talk about the Lezgins. Okay, the Lezgins are a Caucasian people who dwell in northern Azerbaijan and speak Lezgin, which is a Caucasian language belonging to the northeastern branch. Their population is estimated to be at 180 and 300 people. They are the most numerous ethnic minorities. Armenians are the second largest minority group in Azerbaijan, with a population of 120,300. They lived primarily in the Nagorno-Karabakh region before the Second Karabakh War. Some people also live in Baku, which is beyond the Nagorno-Karabakh territory. They communicate in Armenian, which is an Indo-European language. Around 800,000 Azerbaijanis have been forced to abandon Nagorno-Karabakh and other seized territories and are now internally displaced persons. Armenians were the largest minority before the conflict. With a population of 119,300, Russians are the third largest minority group. They speak Russian and dwell primarily in industrial cities. Talush are a population of 112,000 people that dwell in Azerbaijan's spoken regions. They speak an Azerbaijani Talush, an Indo-European language spoken in northern Iran, and this language is spoken in the southwest of Azerbaijan, in the territory of Lankaran, Astara, Lirik, and Masallı regions. In schools of Lirik, Lankaran, Astara, Masallı regions, students study Talush language. In the northern regions, there are 49,800 Avars. They speak Avar language, which is a Caucasian language from the north, as well as Azerbaijani. The Avar language mainly spoken in the territory of Zaqatala and Balakan regions. So Turks Meskhetians. Okay. Turks Meskhetians communicate in Azerbaijan mostly. They live in the country's northern and southern areas, and their population is estimated to be around 38,000 people. Around 25,900 Tatars live in Azerbaijan cities. They communicate in Tatar, a Turkic language, as well as the Russian. The city of Baku is home to the majority of Ukrainians. They communicate in Ukrainian, an Eastern Slavonic language, and Russian. Their population is believed to be at 21,500 people. Takurs predominantly in Zaqatala region, Georgians in Gulf region, Tats and Kurds primarily in northern regions, the Jews in Kuba region and Baku city, and these are minor ethnic groups with numbers of 15,000 or fewer. Now I give word to Bashir in order to continue with cultural diversity.
Thank you, Sanebar. Now I will give you information about cultural diversity and interculturalism. They are one of the most important factors of culture. Azerbaijan has been known since ancient times as a birthplace of diverse people and cultures. This land served as a kind of bridge between Eastern culture on the other hand and world European culture on the other. For multinational, polyconfessional, multilingual Azerbaijan, this ideology is put forward by historical reality itself. Indeed, Azerbaijan is a unique geographical, geopolitical, and cultural space inhabited by representatives of numerous national ethnic groups. In Azerbaijan, in all periods of history with a diverse nation and ethnic compositions, there are real sources of this diversity. Relations between dozens of the religious and ethnic communities living in Azerbaijan determined the unique of the diverse of their cultures, their folklore, dialects, customs, way of life, religious systems, and etc. Azerbaijan has historically developed the same. That is a normal attitude towards all peoples, national minorities, and ethnic groups. The Azerbaijan state, pursuing a consistent and correct national policy, has achieved important achievements in the field of ensuring the right of national minorities. The expedient steps taken by the state contributed to the further strengthening of the traditions of the Azerbaijan people at all times to live a friendly family in conditions of brotherhood and friendship, regardless of nationality and religion. The Azerbaijani state guarantees all ethnic minorities living in the country the opportunity to create any organizations provided for by law. The constitution and laws of Republic of Azerbaijan regulate the legal status of such organizations. The diversity of national minority organizations is linked to their traditions. Most ethnic associations are created on the basis of religious affiliation. Indeed, in Azerbaijan, different linguistic and religious community coexist quite peacefully in a secular institutional context, and the state intends to promote a multicultural model similar to that in some Western European countries. However, it should be remembered that Azerbaijan's post-independence narrative is largely based on an ethnic split with Armenians, and that ethnic tensions are known to the Turkish Caucasian country with repeated arrests of ethnic minority activities. Therefore, the importance given by the state to the issue of multiculturalism is quite surprising and worth of discussion. In fact, Azerbaijan does not have a such ambitious multicultural policy, and multiculturalism is primarily a reference to the country's cultural diversity and general discourse on tolerance. The problem with that discourse is that diverse from the components of Azerbaijan identity, which are tripartite in accordance with the principles defined by Ali bin Husseinzadeh in 1905 in the newspaper Hayat, and which can be reflected in the colors of flag. During the Soviet period, national building policy was pursued around a well-located Azerbaijani identity, including in order to destroy possible transnational solidarities. But during the period of independence and the First Karabakh War, debates arose over the definition of national identity. Thanks, my groupmates Shoghi will continue.
A way of life for the multi-ethnic and multi-confessional Azerbaijani people, and an integral part of state policy that has persisted for centuries. A striking example is the first Azerbaijan parliament of the 1918, which brought together representatives of different nationalities: Azerbaijans, Russians, Armenians, Jews, and one German. Today in Azerbaijan, there is the Baku International Center for Multiculturalism, which researches and promotes multiculturalism. There is also a special advisor to the government on multiculturalism and in ethnic and religious issues. In addition, the government of Azerbaijan and international organizations regularly hold the Forum of Intercultural Dialogue and the Baku International Humanitarian Forum in Azerbaijan. Religious freedom is present throughout the country. Religious freedom is present throughout the country. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, as well as other religions are freely practiced in the country. Practically all currents of Christianity are represented in Azerbaijan. Orthodox, Catholic, Lutheran, Protestant, Armenian, Georgian, as well as historical Albanian churches. There are more than 2,000 mosques, 13 churches, and 7 synagogues, and the number is growing every year. Azerbaijan is also home to many nationalities such as Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, Kurds, Jews, Armenians, Greeks, Germans, and Tatars. There are many ethnic minority settlements in Azerbaijan, such as the Jewish community village of Azerbaijan, Krasny Karadok, the Malakan village of Inovanovka, the Udin village of Nich, and the Khanalif village of Kuba. Ethnic minorities in the country have their schools, cultural centers, media, and internet resources. The government is taking necessary measures to ensure that ethnic minority children learn their mother tongues. Among these ethnic minorities, the population of the village of Khanalif is unique in the world in its language. The ethnic minority was distinct from the inhabitants of historical Caucasian Albania, a state which covered the land that today constituted the Republic of Azerbaijan. Today, the government is committed to preserving the language of this unique population. Another example of Azerbaijan's religious and cultural diversity is the Red City in Kuba. It's one of the largest compact settlements of Jews in the world, outside Israel. This settlement is also called the Judaism of Caucasian. The Red City is a model of tolerance and respect for diversity. It's worth mentioning that there are also German settlements in Azerbaijan, dating back to the early 19th century. The historical and cultural monument of these settlements, the German Lutheran Church of 1854, remains in Belgrade, Azerbaijan. Another German Lutheran church was built in Baku in 1899. Currently, this church functions as the Chambam organ music hall of the Azerbaijan state. Philharmonic Society. Various events and concerts are regularly held in here. In 2017, the 200th anniversary of the resettlement of Serbian Germans in Azerbaijan was commemorated by UNESCO. Last but not least, about 30,000 ethnic Armenians also live in Azerbaijan, despite the conflict with Armenia. This demonstrates the tolerance of the Azerbaijan people towards ethnic and religious minorities and different cultures. It also refutes the false Armenian propaganda that Azerbaijanis and Armenians are incapable of peaceful existence.
Today, in many countries, it is still under question that did multiculturalism fail. Though it was tough to find an answer to Europe's problems, multiculturalism is now considered as a failure in many of these European countries, such as the United Kingdom and Germany. But if the problem itself is not about multiculturalism, but the wrong model of multiculturalism that was applied in these countries. Multicultural ideologies are different in all countries, but the main idea, of course, is about the equality between different nations, races, cultures, and etc. As we talk about the history of multicultural values in Azerbaijan, we must look at this philosophy from many aspects. Azerbaijan's national leader Heydar Aliyev is one of his speech said, Azerbaijan's population's multinationality is our wealth, our advantage. We value and will always preserve that. His political vision had an important role in Azerbaijan's development and building a bright future with a democratic society where equality comes first for every single of citizens. Of course, multiculturalism has a strong influence on every field. It's not only a lifestyle or an ideology, but also a great way to get inspiration. Multiculturalism provides the community with peaceful ideas, and these ideas harmonize various cultural values, music, and fine art. Today, history shows us creative people always tried to be and create in a country that's more safe for human beings, no matter if they were artists, musicians, or etc. Of course, the first opera in the East, Leila and Majnun, is one of the best examples of success of multiculturalism. On the other side, I should mention Vakıf Mustafazadeh, a great Azerbaijani musician, jazz composer, acclaimed for fusing jazz and Azerbaijani traditional folk music known as Mugham. But here, the role of multiculturalism is in a society and country's life is not limited with musical or lyrical art, but also it helps different cultures of different people join each other, harmonize current intangible values, and even create a new tangible cultural heritage, such as architectural buildings. Baku is a place where not only old and modern buildings, but slightly dissimilar architectural elements of different cultures harmonize together and become one in many instances. The building of mayoralty of Baku city is also a significant masterpiece that needs to be mentioned. Polish architect Joseph Kozłowski, who worked as the head of the architects of Baku from 1892 and 1904, designed the building in classical European style and used a lot of Baroque elements. Another Polish architect that's the author of multiple buildings in Baku is the Joseph Poloszki. He was working for Azerbaijani millionaires such as Musa Naghiev, Murtaza Mukhtarov, and others. That's a fact. Ploshki's biography is full of masterpieces, but among these buildings, Ismailia Palace for me comes first. The reason I call these buildings multicultural and show the role of multiculturalism in development of architecture is not only limited by harmonization of different architectural styles, but also it has a quite necessary effect on the foreign architects who lived and created for Azerbaijan for many years.
Tolerance is ability to listen in spite of all contradictions and disagreements. Tolerance allows people to live together peacefully. This is the base for the society where everyone can live their life as they wish. Moreover, it's about accepting everyone in their position regardless of their religious tolerance and looking for ways to reconcile with them. From the very previous centuries, we can say that tolerance widespread in Azerbaijan as well. In the history of this area, there have been almost no conflicts on the basis of religion and ethnicity. This is the foundation of the tradition of tolerance in Azerbaijan has been laid since ancient times. From the earliest times of the history, Azerbaijan has always respected other nations and religions. The fact that Azerbaijans have welcomed Armenians as guests, no matter what's their belief, since ancient times helped them and established close ties is a clear example how hospitable and tolerant the Azerbaijani people are. Thus, the first Azerbaijan parliament in 1980 was united representatives of different ethnic groups such as Azerbaijanis, Russians, Armenians, Jews, and German, which is tell us how Azerbaijan opened to the relation with other ethnic and religious groups. Additionally, the Constitution of Azerbaijan established the rights and the freedom of conscience of all minorities and religions living in our country in 1995. According to the Article 48 of the Constitution of Azerbaijan, every citizen has the right to freedom of conscience, independent attitude of religion, free expression, dissemination of religious beliefs, and free performance of religious ties. One of the best examples of tolerance in Azerbaijan is frequent gathering of representatives of all religious communities. For example, representatives of Christians, Jews, and other religious communities living in Azerbaijan take also part in the Muslim iftar gatherings organized during the month of Ramadan. It's very rare that the representatives of the three main celestial religions come together, and it's gratifying that this is happening in Azerbaijan. Furthermore, gathering to commemorate our martyrs, reciting prayers reflects to the tolerance and associating of the religious in Azerbaijan. The construction of temples of different religions in Baku, Ganja, Khachmaz, Shamkir, and other cities, the protection and restoration of these centers by the state along with the Muslim temples are connected with the development of the tolerance in Azerbaijan. In fact, there are more than 2,000 mosques, 30 churches, and 7 synagogues in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is also closely cooperates with organizations such as United Nations, UNESCO, and ISESCO to disseminate and promote tolerance and multiculturalism, as well as its values in the international arena. The fact that Armenian church was in Baku was not destroyed, as well as Armenian clergies were allowed to enter the monastery in Kalbajar after the liberation of lands, and the protection of church in Shusha prove with the confidence how multicultural and tolerant Azerbaijan is. All the mentioned examples and information prove that Azerbaijan is one of the most cultural and tolerant country in the world. Thanks for watching.